Hey guys, it's David here, and it's currently day 324. I hope you guys had a fabulous day and are doing better than yesterday. The time is currently 7 a.m. And this morning, upon waking up, I meditated. I haven't done meditation in about 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, sorry, 2 days, nor have I done journaling. So pretty much I have just been stuck in my head by myself. And it hasn't been pleasant. But when I sat here tonight or this morning meditating, it reminded me of something very important, that how we can control our thoughts, how we should control our feelings. Now, when I was sitting there meditating in this peace of quiet, the first few minutes has been difficult. I was easily agitated. I was annoyed, I was stressed, and most importantly, I was very distracted. I couldn't stop thinking about all the possibilities or all the things that I should be doing and all the regrets that I had felt for the past few days. But it reminded me of something because when I sat there, it reminded me that we don't have to act upon those thoughts. That yes, we are going to think about distractions, we are going to think about unpleasant things. But it is that the more we try to think about it, the more we try to fight it, to not think about it, is that we incur more pain on ourselves. And sometimes it is just as easy to just acknowledge the thought and understand that you are in control and let it go. By doing so, you don't drain yourself of mental energy. By doing so, you don't become more stressed because of it. So, in the first few minutes, it was very difficult for me to sit there still because I have forgotten how to do that. I have forgotten that we shouldn't fight our emotions. We shouldn't resist the thought of coming into your mind because it is inevitable. We are going to think about those things that we don't want to think about. But it is the skill and discipline to acknowledge that and bring yourself back into the present and focus on the present that eventually makes those unpleasant thoughts diminish. And by doing so, it reminded me of what I should be doing with my day to day actions. Is that yes, I'm going to think about distractions. When I finished meditation, I thought about distractions. I thought about just opening Netflix again and just skipping the gym. That is my intuitive thought. But from meditation, I understood that I don't have to act upon it. And the more I resist it, the more I try to condemn it, the more I am going to tribute my emotional energy towards it. In other words, the more emotional investment I'm going to give upon it. Therefore, eventually I will act. Because when you tribute more emotional connection or energy towards something, it means you're paying more attention and energy towards it. Therefore, you eventually will act upon that thought because you have rooted that thought in your mind. And from all my distractions, from all my relapses, I have realized one thing in common, that I eventually relapse or act on the distraction simply because I have been thinking about it and I have been fighting about it. And it is only time until my willpower wears out that that thought becomes the first thing I choose to do, because I no longer have the will to say no to something that I have planted in my mind. So the way to stop yourself from planting these thoughts into your mind is to pay less emotional investment towards so. And by doing so means you should acknowledge your thoughts and just let it go. As simply as that. The thought shouldn't stress you out. The thought shouldn't worry you. The thought should only be a mere thought, and that is it. Something we think about day to day, like the 1 billion other things we think about throughout our working days. Maybe less, maybe more. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it is that thought we should not act upon every single time we think about it. Think about it. We all think about so many things every single day, and yet how many of those thoughts do we actually act upon? And ask yourself this question too: the thoughts that you just merely think about and don't pay any more emotional investment towards it, guess what? You eventually forget about them. They become like the a million other thoughts that we think about that we forget. And that is exactly how we should treat our thoughts to distractions and to other any vices that we want to act upon. We should not pay more emotional investment towards them as we have already. Treat them as a thought, like any other thoughts that you ignore through your daily life. And by doing so, is to understand that you can control your thoughts by forgetting about them, by simply ignoring them, by simply acknowledging them and pulling yourself back into the present. And I'm quite glad that this lesson has been revelated to me, because otherwise I would not have been reminded of this lesson if I did not meditate. And this is very important because for the past few days I have been acting upon my thoughts. I have never once acknowledged it and just forget about it. But every time I have been fighting it, I wish to not think about it, and I have just been acting upon it. And I have allowed thoughts to drive my actions without really understanding how I can overcome this. So, meditation has really helped me today. And I do believe the reason I stopped doing my meditation routines and the routines that keep me in the present is because I don't want to feel in the present. I don't want to be clear. I wanted to be distracted, which is why I have been self-sabotaging and stopped doing the habits that I have done to get myself clear and focused. Because I know the moment reignite these habits, the moment I get back into routine, is the time I have to stop distracting myself, stop the pleasures, stop the vices, and start doing the hard things. But I know that eventually, if I want something in life, then these distractions will only suck away my time. It will never help me into reaching my purpose, and that is something I really destined want to do. So it's good to be back. And now I'm gonna go to the gym. And when I come back, I'm gonna regain my focus once again, perhaps record some clips, because this is the only way that is going to help me stay focused. And sometimes we just have to stop ignoring the fact that we have to do the hard things to get the things we want in life. Sometimes we have to stop fighting the distractions and understand it is much easier and kinder on ourselves to just acknowledge it and let it go away. I'll see you guys in a bit. So guys, the time is currently 7:25. Now, I have not been distracted today, which is a good thing. I went out with my friends, so that is something I have not done in a while. I have neglected him for a long time, so it's great to go out and just have some social connections, really go out and be with somebody else besides yourself, besides sitting at home with your own peace of mind. Because that definitely can go wrong if you don't control your thoughts and emotions and really understand how to really control us so that you don't torture yourself pretty much. But coming back home today, I really did the good thing, the right thing at least, to control my urges, to allow my distractions to flow by my head and not act on my thoughts because I thought of them. And by doing so, I managed to stay away from these urges, these distractions, these habits that I had formed by just acting on my behaviors for the past few weeks. Now, by doing so, it was difficult. When I came back, I did want to just binge eat, turn off my inner voice, and just have this feeling of coziness pretty much, and just kind of feel at ease and perhaps distract my mind by watching Netflix and then finish the day like that. And that has been my day for, well, a week now. But that definitely isn't how I want to live my life forever. And by still holding on to hope that I could change, by still holding on to hope that I could be somebody else, that eventually allowed me to say no to those urges, say no to those distractions, and do something, well, meaningful with my life. So today I picked up a book. It's about time. I read some books, pretty much just fed myself with new knowledge, and by doing so, I felt great. I really like doing it, and quite frankly, I like to improve on myself. I like to grow my skills, get better at what I do, and continue on the project which I have neglected for a long time also because I have been distracted. And the least to say, I am on the right path to change. And it is also expected that throughout the next week, it is going to be somewhat difficult, meaning that I will have the urge to watch TV, I will have the urge to, well, binge eat, and I'll have the urge to do so many other things to avoid doing the hard thing because I have not built the habit
of trying anymore. I have not built the habit of, taking more stress. Therefore, I prone my body to kind of just do the easy thing. Now, that definitely isn't ideal, but I do believe with commitment, with enthusiasm, anyone can push through the difficult times in their life. And if you get beat down, just know that there's not going to be a day until you're going to be ready to change. I was not ready to change today. And furthermore, I was more ready to just sit on my ass and watch TV again because that is what I have been doing for the whole week. And certainly, the only thing you're ready for is to do what you have been doing already. So if you're distracted, then what you're ready to do is to stay distracted. If you have become focused, if you have found passion, then you are ready to continue on that road of self-discovery or self-improvement. But if you have been distracted, if you have met defeat at its face, then most likely you are only ready to be who you were yesterday, and you're not ready to change. And from what I have experienced thus far, from all the setbacks, etc., that I have encountered, I was never once ready to really change. I was never once ready to say that today is going to be the day where I am going to just be someone totally different, that I'm going to change my actions. That is very rare. And I don't know how long I will be sitting here if I wait for that day. And maybe in the past, that day have first came to me, that revelation that I have this surge of motivation to be someone. But even that was influenced by something. It was influenced whether by perhaps a random YouTube video, or perhaps by friends or family, or perhaps by my ex-partners who has hurt me in a way that I want to change their mind by being somebody totally different, that they regret leaving me. So all these reasons to change all came off from a motivation, a motive. And that motive doesn't just come by sitting around and doing nothing. You either look for that or try to find that reason to change. And by doing so, you're actively trying, you're actively committing to this process of change. So sitting around and waiting for that change or moment to happen in your life, it is not going to happen. We could sit around all day and stay distracted, stay drunk, stay high, stay fat, or just stay entrapped in these distractions on social media. We could stay distracted and not focus on the present. And that day, where the motivation is high and our enthusiasm is eager to change, that day is not going to come to you. But by only actively seeking to ways to change yourself, to open your mind to the possibilities of change, then change, and that feeling of motivation, that feeling of flame, your light will come to you. But if you don't search for that, it ain't gonna come to you. You can be waiting here for a month, for the next year, but without an outside motivation of some sorts, you yourself will stay complacent to what you have become comfortable with. And by definition, you'll only be ready to be the person you were yesterday. So have a think about that. If yesterday you were a nobody, then today you are only ready to continue on to be that nobody, unless you choose to do something different today. And by then, well, you maybe have the insight of change, of this desire to be somebody different. And perhaps you'll be motivated. But if you don't, then you'll stay the same. You'll stay the same, doing the same thing every single day and not desiring change, because nobody wants to be changed. You have to be shocked in a way. And that could be from any other motivation but yourself, because you have to find that elsewhere, and eventually that will come and burn inside of you internally. But if what you're doing right now is not working, then just doing the same thing over and over and over again won't lead to a different result in yourself to change. Now, I am not saying this in regards and correlations to anything else. This has nothing to do with what is like a work, or perhaps you're improving on the skill where you have to get better at this. You have to put more effort to get better. What I'm solely talking about is your lifestyle choices at the beginning of change. If you have been complacent, if you have been defeated, then avoiding your success or avoiding your desire to find your deeper passion in life, then that avoidance, if you continue on with that avoidance, if you continue on with that distraction, then nothing is going to change for you. But this obviously works totally different. And what I'm talking about towards if you're doing something productive. This is a different subject for a different day. But if you are lost, then what I'm trying to say is by staying lost, by staying uncertain, then you'll never be sure of how to really become somebody different. You have to look for that. You have to go out and find that. And that could be simply as just picking up a book or just simply watching some motivating videos online or something, or just go outside and then just touch the world and experience life. Because by sitting at home or just by trapping yourself in your own mind when you're at your worst, that can only really make your situation more unfavorable in your position. You have to really let go and allow your thoughts to just guide past you. Don't think too much. Don't pay so much emotional energy towards it, because that is only going to make you desire more. That is only going to make you act on it more likely, because you've been thinking about it and you've been paying a lot of emotional investment to it. But rather, you should just acknowledge it and understand that your thoughts don't need to be acted upon. That by doing so, you are going to stay the same. It is a thought, it is of your own creation and imagination. Therefore, if you can think about it, you can forget about it. But don't do anything more than that. But that being said, I hope you guys have learned something from this. But if not, like always, I'll be here for you guys tomorrow. But until then, good night.